Yeah, the NFL does not like what the Kansas City Chiefs are doing. So we're going to be going through that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Kansas City Chiefs news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting that red button down below. The first story is shorthanded Kansas City Chiefs welcome back Kareem Hunt. 6 years after releasing Kareem Hunt in the middle of the season, the Kansas City Chiefs have signed the veteran running back to their practice squad. The Chiefs were looking for help at running back after starter Isaiah Pacheco broke a fibula in last week's game against the Cincinnati Bengals. The Chiefs selected Hunt in the 3rd round in 2017, the same draft in which they acquired quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Hunt had a big rookie season, rushing for a league-high 1,327 yards, catching 53 passes and scoring 11 touchdowns. He was well on his way to another 1,000-yard season in 2018 when a video surfaced showing Hunt earlier that year shoving and kicking a woman at a Cleveland hotel where Hunt had an apartment. The NFL then placed Hunt on the commissioner's exempt list, and the Chiefs released the running back, saying he had not been truthful with them when they asked him about the incident. Hunt, 29, played the past 5 seasons for the Browns in his hometown of Cleveland. The most productive of those seasons came in 2020, when he rushed for 841 yards and caught 38 passes. Hunt last season rushed for 411 yards and caught 15 passes. When the dust settled on Sunday evening, the Kansas City Chiefs had survived the Cincinnati Bengals in a slim 26-25 victory over their conference rival. Kansas City has yet to play its best football, but improved to 2-0 with marquee wins over 2 teams. We all expect to be viable AFC contenders come January. Lamentably, their good fortune hasn't come without adversity. Over the past 72 hours, the Chiefs learned wide receiver Marquise Brown needed surgery to rectify the sternoclavicular joint issue he sustained in the preseason. Sunday would add insult to injury, as starting running back Isaiah Pacheco would suffer a fractured fibula in Kansas City's matchup with Cincinnati. At press time, he, like Brown, is expected to land on injured reserve and be sidelined for an extended period of time, reportedly 6 to 8 weeks. Remember, just a few weeks ago, reserve back Clyde Edwards-Helaire was placed on the non-football illness list due to his struggles with post-traumatic stress disorder. The team would respond by bolstering their depth by acquiring veteran Samaje Perine. With Pacheco also set to go on ice, the Chiefs are again thin in the backfield. Just like that, the offense is down 2 core offensive players and vacant roster spots are soon to be filled. With that in mind, I would caution you not to expect the team to immediately pursue reinforcements via the NFL trade market. Injuries to Brown and Pacheco can't be undersold. Both players figure prominently into Kansas City's offensive plans for the 2024 season. Fortunately for them, they've started the season with a pair of conference wins that serve their pursuit of the AFC's #1 seed. The Chiefs are slated for a nationally televised affair with an Atlanta Falcons team that looked overmatched in its season opener with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can never overlook any opponent at this level, but if there's a week where they can afford to be patient with roster decisions, it's probably this one. In the short term, I do not expect the team to explore trade options to backfill Pacheco's spot. That does not mean they won't look to free agency for help. Kansas City is reportedly bringing Kareem Hunt in for a visit on Tuesday. His unceremonious ouster from the team in 2018 due to a domestic violence incident caught on camera seemed to slam the door shut on any kind of reunion with Kansas City. Hunt appears to have turned over a new leaf, so the team is considering welcoming him back to One Arrowhead Drive. If he re-signs with the team, the Chiefs will have a back who has system familiarity and synergy with Patrick Mahomes. That could be sufficient, with Pacheco expected to miss a few months while he recovers from the fibula fracture. Sunday's contest with the Bengals saw its share of offensive struggles, but I'm persuaded that head coach Andy Reid and company will continue to experiment with their pass catchers. Xavier Worthy had an impressive Week 1 outing, but a quiet day on Sunday. The Chiefs will look to expand his role as the season wears on. The team has a number of veterans in the room, so the receiving core feels like an even more unlikely candidate for an addition. The NFL's trade deadline is still 7 weeks away, so if the team is to add receiver reinforcements, I would not expect a move until then. The second story is Chiefs hit with 3 separate Week 1 fines totaling over $110,000. The NFL fined the Kansas City Chiefs multiple times after their Week 1 victory over the Baltimore Ravens. NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero relayed each financial penalty on September 14th. The NFL fined the Chiefs organization $100,000 and tight end Peyton Hendershot $5,472 for a sideline shove that drew the ire of Ravens linebacker Roquan Smith in last week's kickoff game, per sources, Pelissero posted initially, adding that Hendershot plans to appeal his fine. Later, he also clarified that Roquan Smith wasn't fined for his contact with Patrick Mahomes on the play, but the NFL did fine him $16,883 for unnecessary roughness on a different play, a horse collar tackle in the first quarter. Additionally, Pelissero noted a third KC fine on X. The NFL fined Chiefs RB Isaiah Pacheco $5,582 for unnecessary roughness on this play in last week's kickoff game, he said, sharing video of the aforementioned incident. Pelissero explained that the league continues to crack down on lowering the head to initiate contact. He also reminded that no flag was thrown on this play. After informing fans of the $100,000 fine, Pelissero followed up with more detail as to why this likely occurred. The NFL has cracked down in recent years on inactive players and other sideline personnel getting involved in altercations with active players, the insider wrote. Continuing, the league sent a memo to clubs on August 7 reminding them in part, the playing rules of the National Football League and the 2024 Policy Manual for Member Clubs. Game operations prohibits non-player personnel and non-participant players from making unnecessary physical contact with, or taunting or directing abusive, threatening, or insulting language or gestures at opponents, game officials, or representatives of the league. As for why the Chiefs organization was fined so much rather than Hendershot himself, Pelissero quoted one final section of said memo. Clubs are responsible for the conduct of their players and other club personnel throughout the game day, period, the memo read. The third story is the San Francisco 49ers will trade Christian McCaffrey to the Kansas City Chiefs. When the San Francisco 49ers traded for Christian McCaffrey, they thought they were getting multiple years left of production, especially when they signed him to a 2-year, $38 million extension. While McCaffrey has performed, that has not entirely turned out to be the full case for San Francisco. McCaffrey is coming off a season where he had 1,727 yards, 18 rushing touchdowns, 716 receiving yards, and 8 receiving touchdowns. McCaffrey is talented, but his time in San Francisco may be running out. Currently, McCaffrey is dealing with a calf Achilles injury that has now sidelined him for the first 2 weeks and could potentially be going on IR. This has allowed for Jordan Mason to emerge as the top running back on the team, with putting up 147 yards and 1 touchdown over 28 attempts. With Mason emerging and McCaffrey getting older, plus needing to free up cap space for a potential Brock Purdy contract, trading McCaffrey could be in play. The team that could have the most interest in McCaffrey is the Kansas City Chiefs. As it stands, Pacheco is the lead running back, coming off back-to-back seasons with over 1,000 yards rushing and 16 rushing touchdowns. Pacheco isn't necessarily the top receiving back in the NFL, and that's where McCaffrey comes in to help diversify the offense. With the receiving ability of McCaffrey, he would help be a reliable option for Patrick Mahomes, and with Marquise Brown injured, would help provide an extra receiver outlet. With a backfield of both Pacheco and McCaffrey, it would help keep both fresh as the season progresses. This would create a sustainable duo for the foreseeable future and help extend the career longevity for both. Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Marquise Hollywood Brown, who was put on injured reserve Friday because of a shoulder injury that requires surgery, is not expected to play in the regular season, sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter. There still was a chance Brown could return for the postseason, but he was not expected back any sooner than mid-January, sources told Schefter. Chiefs coach Andy Reid said Friday that Brown was expected to sit out months, not weeks, because of the sternoclavicular injury. Brown suffered the injury after catching a pass on the first play of the Chiefs' first preseason game, August 10, against the Jaguars. He didn't play in last week's season-opening victory over the Ravens, but had appeared on track to return perhaps as early as Sunday's home game against the Bengals.